Support for the Couples Council comes from Mercier Wellness and Consulting. Their purpose is to equip you with the right skills for a happy and healthy relationship. Services available in office or virtual. Schedule your consultation now. For more information, visit mercierwellness.com. Mercier Wellness and Consulting. Small steps, big changes.
This podcast is not a substitute for therapy. Please consult a licensed professional for your mental health needs.
Now on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the Couples Council. I'm Dr. Jameson Mercier, sitting in front of my wife, Herdyne Mercier.
The wife mentor, creator of the Wifidence movement.
Yeah, we have some new toys in a slightly different setup today.
Yes.
We've officially, that is, set up our mobile studio.
Yes, and we set up our mobile studio because we're traveling for spring break.
Yeah. At the time of this recording, it is spring break season for us. Mm-hmm. So we've been bouncing around a little bit.
Traveling with the kids, visiting family.
Checking out on some families, some of the older family, younger family. Mm-hmm. Had a birthday with my grandmother.
I know. She's 88 and fierce as ever, babe.
Yeah, she's still saying things like cool. Yeah. So that was funny. That was definitely a trip.
That was our time in Orlando with Grandma. She's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love that lady.
Then we hopped over.
Yeah, right now we're over on the West Coast, hanging out in Tampa a little bit.
Yes.
Just continuing our spring break.
Yep.
You know, a cousin of mine told me adults need spring break too.
Good.
Yeah, when I heard that, I said, yeah. You know, they spoil you with college and school. Mm-hmm. And then when you graduate, they take it all away.
I know. But thank God our lifestyle allows us to have spring break with our kids.
Yes.
And travel and have fun. Talking about fun, oh my God, Sunday was amazing.
What did we do Sunday?
Fishing.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Dr. J took us fishing as a family, and we had so much fun. Our cousin Renette joined us. We had a good time. Our niece and nephew.
If you've not taken your family fishing, please do. Please do. One of two things will happen. They will either cause you to fall out laughing. Okay.
Which typically happens with our family.
Oh, yeah. These are some crazy people. They will cause you to fall out laughing, or they will be exposed to some new and interesting things.
I know, and I'm so proud of Azriel, our oldest daughter. She was able to
rig the worms.
What is it?
Rig
the worms.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, right?
I couldn't stomach it. But I was so proud to see her at first, very apprehensive, had nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And now her cousins, her siblings were, can you do it for me?
Oh, yeah. And even her mama was having her set up her fishing
And
rig.
I did say, I birthed you, because she was talking about where my money. And I was like, I birthed you, baby.
I don't know.
Put that thing on my fishing pole.
Yeah, sometimes being mom ain't enough. But she was, the kids really impressed me. They all did. Even the big kid, you know, he's found this love for fishing.
Yes, Elton.
So take your kids out, get them off those devices and screens. It will do them some good.
Mm-hmm. And it was peaceful. The other great thing we did while on spring break here in Tampa, we visited, because we're from Tampa as far as our our undergrad degrees in social work, and that happened at the University of South Florida. And we were able to take our kids there and walk the campus and show them where mommy and daddy would hang. Also even show them where we lived.
Yeah, if you've not taken your kids, I know sometimes we move around, but if you have the chance to show your kids where you used to live and what your life was like, kind of like taking them back in time, you would be amazed at the conversations that come up.
They're great. It was a great conversation starter.
Exposing them to the university where our relationship essentially flourished and blossomed and the questions that they asked, in addition to them just having fun on a university campus. And now you hear things like, well, when I go to college,
Mm-hmm.
I can eat Chick-fil-A for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I go to college, maybe I'll have a car.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to college, what classes will I take?
This was a good one. I can't remember if it was Tamar or Azriel. How do you know when the bell is going to change?
Right.
That was a good one, honey.
Right. So they think that there are bells when you're in college.
And so we were able to expose them. We never have to say you're going to college. We're just exposing it, and they're now telling us, I can't wait to go to college.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. So we say work on those scholarships.
Yep.
Right. So that's our spring break so far. I don't know what the rest of the spring break has in store, but it'll be great.
Yes. And we're going to enjoy this because the week before, honey, you had a rough week.
Yeah, well, it was a busy week.
It was a busy, rough week.
Everybody was pulling it, and everyone needed something. And we don't mind. We're serving our clients. We're not complaining about that.
Mm-mm.
You know, we just knew that we had to get out and recharge, get some sleep, get some fresh air, and go tree bathe.
Yes.
Tree bathing. That's a thing.
Oh.
And we'll probably be talking about that some more.
Okay.
I need to bathe in the trees every so often.
All right.
Yes.
All right. And we're able to get away. It's like a nice retreat. Although we're not in the office, but we're able to see our clients virtually still.
Yeah.
So our clients are not missing out. So if you have not scheduled a consultation with us, even when we're on vacation, sometimes we'll be able to see you.
Oh, yeah. No, we got time set aside for y'all. All right. So speaking of what we got for you guys, let's get into this conversation.
Let's talk about it.
So lately, it's been a lot of talk about divorce and separation. And I say lately, and maybe it's because it's the new year and people are trying to get rid of some old baggage.
Or Valentine's Day is over.
Valentine's, that cuffing season is over.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? From around Thanksgiving through Valentine's, y'all just trying to be hooked up with somebody so y'all don't have to be alone. Hello, somebody.
Hello.
But now people just seem like, well, it wasn't working. I tried. So what? And so a lot of the conversations we've been having with people are about whether they should stay or go, or I'm going and I'm scared, or I don't want to go, but I have no choice.
And this is not just our clients. These are family members we're talking about, co-workers. Like a lot of this stuff is really coming up. And Jay and I decided, you know what? We're going to address it on the podcast today.
Yeah. So what we're calling this episode is You Can't Play Divorce. All right, guys. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot play divorce. Sometimes we see divorce as something that's just a part of relationships, right? Sometimes we talk about divorce very casually. Sometimes even in jokes. You know what I mean? Sometimes in empty threats.
Yeah.
And
when you say empty threats, it's that individual who's saying divorce, hoping that maybe you'll change or shape up to stay in the relationship.
Right.
But they really don't want a divorce.
Right. You know, like, or maybe they don't even know. They're not even thinking about it beyond, you know what, don't do that before I divorce you. Big mistake.
Big mistake.
Right? So we understand there are some couples who can have the divorce conversation, not joking, not very casual, but openly and honest.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that has come up is there are couples who actually talk and say, hey, if we were ever to divorce or separate, what would things be like? Okay. I think there's a time and a place for that conversation.
Not when you're arguing.
Oh, it damn sure ain't when you're fighting.
No.
It is not when you're arguing. It is not when you're feeling lonely or...
That's the day when the sun is out. Y'all probably chilling on the beach, and you really just inquisitive question.
Yeah, it could be one of these check-ins. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have this kind of conversation when things are just,
rocky.
Yeah.
Because they'll spiral out of control really fast.
So what we've been thinking about and just kind of talking is what happens when we decide we want a divorce, right? What happens when someone tells us they want a divorce, right? So what happens to the person hearing it, and what happens to the person saying it, right? Because all we ever think about is the person who is being dumped or broken up with or being divorced, right? We don't necessarily think about the individual who is at a point where they feel like they want a divorce. The other thing that's been coming up is I have clients who say they don't know if they want to be married anymore. And so the partner will hear, well, hell, forget you then. And we got to say, whoa, let's slow down here. Let's think about this some. When someone says, I'm not sure I want to be married anymore, they're not saying
they want a divorce.
No, they're not saying I want a divorce.
They're just questioning.
They are.
They're questioning. And I think even in our own personal story, I think if you go back to Meet the Wife Mentor, I tell the story about how divorce came up in our relationship, babe. And for me, when I asked for a divorce, it came out of a dark time. I didn't have any clarity. I just knew I was lost in the marriage, and I did not know where to go from there. Yes, a clinical social worker did not know where to go from there. And my way out was I would prefer us be friends than enemy. Well, maybe divorce is the best option.
Yeah. And I mean, again, if you listen to that, you'll hear me say, oh, hell no.
Yes. And so go back and listen to that episode. It was really good, insightful, and I poured my heart out on there.
Yeah. Not everyone who questions being married is telling you they want a divorce. Some people, when they say they want a divorce, if we can just talk about this a little bit, they are looking at the marriage today and they're projecting it out 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
You hit it right on the nail. That's exactly what I did. But I didn't realize I was doing that until, you know how they say hindsight is 20/20? Until after we came out of it.
That's when it's clear.
It was clear. But before, I thought this has to be the best choice.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm grateful that you didn't get in your emotions about it. Where you're like, well, you put your defense up. If you want a divorce, I'm walking out too. Because we really would have destroyed what we have.
Oh, yeah. There would be no Couples Council podcast.
No, definitely. There would be no website to go to.
No.
Well, there'll be amazing kids.
Well, yeah, it was already here. So, when people look 5 or 10 years down the line and they're like, oh my God, if this is what's happening now, what's it going to be like then? And when I sit and talk, so whether it's the husband or the wife, right? When I sit and talk to them and they say, yo, Dr. J, he does this, she does that. And we've talked and talked and talked. And it's not working. So if we've been trying to work it out and it's only getting worse, how much worse will it be? Right? And so that's when we get stuck in this one track, right? And it just gets faster and faster. And so my job is to say, whoa, let's just kind of pull it back a little bit. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Right? We seem to think that there's only one outcome for this situation. But the truth is, somebody can wake up one day and have a complete change of heart.
Yep.
Somebody can have a dream. Someone can be confronted by an old lady who don't know them
in a grocery store,
and it just speaks to them.
Yeah.
Somebody might get sick, and then suddenly it changes everything.
The stressor
they may be gone.
Yeah, if you are going through financial stressor and that is gone, you may look at each other and go, ooh, that was just a season. And so we always talk about on the couples councils, what season are you in? And so you really have to look at the relationship and answer that question. And if you're having a hard time answering that question, that is a red flag that you need help. You need an outside party to help you answer that question together as a couple.
Yeah. As a couple, ideally, sometimes by yourself.
That's true. Come get your wifidence on with the wife mentor.
Sometimes by yourself, because, like we were saying a moment ago, in our situation, the threat I make was to go by myself. Okay, if there was any threat, I threatened to go to counseling
by myself.
Okay, that is the only threat y'all should be making. Okay, or I'm a threaten to pray about you, to tell Jesus about you.
Yeah,
but it doesn't always mean that the way you're headed now is the only option, right? The other thing we want to I guess highlight, and we know this, but we don't really think about it, is that the divorce is not always mutual. First of all, nobody wants to be broken up with or dumped or divorced. But we don't think about what would it be like if I want to stay in the relationship and someone else wants to go.
Roller coaster.
Oh yeah. So now,
welcome to adulting.
Yeah, we keep fighting that.
I know.
So now you are in a situation where you're hearing from your spouse, your husband or your wife, you know what? I wasn't sure if I wanted to be married anymore. I've thought about it, and now I know I don't want to be married anymore. Now I know that this is not for me. Okay. Now what? Now we're in a situation where you are left to sort out your own emotions, maybe by yourself. Okay? But get this, right? What happens in a lot of situations, the other person has already checked out, and now the person who is getting this shock, right? Instead of acknowledging how they feel, right? Instead of saying, hey, I don't want to be divorced. I mean, what can we do to work it out? They then pretend like they are okay with it. They put on a smile. They put on their makeup. They put on their suit and tie. And they carry on as if everything is okay.
And let me tell you something about that. That is the most damaging thing you can do emotionally, because it's going to be that little thing that you think is not going to trigger you, and you are going to have an emotional breakdown. And when I say emotional breakdown, oftentimes people think it's you're crying and you're in bed. It can be as simple as someone honking you. That ticks you off. And so we always have to get our emotions in check and do the necessary work and processing that thing, not leaving it on our hearts or in our minds, or because what happens in our minds, they'll just go, I can't believe he or she wants a divorce from me. We've been married for 15 years, 8 years. We have 3 kids. Why would she do this? But if we don't go and get clarity, we're just going to be left with all this what ifs, why us?
Yeah. And when someone has decided they no longer want to be married, they've gone through a lot on their own too, right? They just may not be able to share that.
They may not know how to share it.
They may not know how. We just don't know. But you on the receiving end got to find a way to deal with that on your own, right? Because there is a loss there. Okay, this is where grief and loss and couples counseling, they all kind of converge. You will grieve, but you can't run away from grief. You can't front like you ain't sad. And too many people are in that situation. They're going through a divorce, but they're playing.
And the other thing I would say, honey, is I want couples to know there's no magic pill. Like, you literally have to do the work. You have to, if it's not your expertise, literally seek the person that can help you in that area, and have you look at it, because it's probably some stuff in your marriage you're not even dealing with. It's probably your childhood trauma.
Yeah. And whether you're the one who's staying or want to stay, or the one who's leaving, we all got stuff that's just been working on us over years, and emotionally speaking.
Yeah. But I was writing somewhere, I think in my journal, and I said, your emotional DNA can hinder your growth, your present growth in your experiences. It can block those things. Your childhood emotional DNA has a lot to do with what you're experiencing now, how you perceive things, how you hear things, from a touch to a smell, to a taste. Like, every senses that you have connect back to your childhood.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think when I was growing up in Haiti, right? So the experiences I had in Haiti, so those memories were being formed. But it's not until I was here in the States, and I think I was like, I don't know, crossing the street or something, and I got a whiff of diesel exhaust. And that suddenly took me back to Haiti when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old.
Wow.
Because if you ever been to Haiti, there's a lot of big trucks and everything. And so not only did that take me back to Haiti, but all the memories of my childhood came back just from a truck passing me here in the States.
Wow.
Right?
So imagine if you were part of a family where there was a lot of emotional trauma.
Right. So if it
that
was
you
bad,
you never experienced, and your husband tone that day triggered you, where something could have been as simple like, coach, the wife coach always say, tame your tongue. Like, you could have been able to tame your tongue, but you were triggered emotionally, and now this simple, what could have been very simple argument, talk about, it turns into this massive thing.
Yeah.
You all don't speak for 3 days, turns into 3 months, and now you're thinking about divorce.
It's insane what can spiral out of this. So then here's the other thing that happens. So and this is along the lines of this divorce, right? We are going through this divorce, but we're still kind of playing house. Right? So I've said to you that I want a divorce, and you're like, well, hell, fine. You want a divorce? Okay. Tomorrow, we're still on for Game of Thrones, right? What just happened there? How is it that we're getting a divorce, and now we're still
Having sex.
We're still hanging around each other, doing the same things we used to do.
So, Dr. J, what do you recommend in that situation? If one of our listeners, they just had this conversation with their husband and they're like, you know what, I would like a divorce, but yet, like you said, they're still watching Game of Thrones, they're still going out, they're really not talking about it.
They're still cuddling and Netflix and chilling.
Yeah, so help, what do we do?
So, one of the very first things we got to do is get clear on what divorce means, right? So maybe we say we're getting a divorce, but what we really mean is we need some time apart. Maybe what you really want is some time to figure out if you do want a divorce. There is absolutely nothing wrong with couples taking some time apart, as long as it's a mutual agreement.
What does that look like? Am I moving out the house? We have kids. What does that look like?
Well, so it depends on your situation. Sometimes you may have to live somewhere else. Sometimes it may simply be that we decide we're going to take a weekend away, right? You know me, I like the woods. Go camping or go to a resort. I don't know. Go stay somewhere away. Right?
From the hustle and bustle to
reflect.
Yeah,
because what happens is we say these things not realizing how they're going to impact our lives. One of the conversations you and I had was when we were thinking or talking about the whole divorce was, okay, so you say you want a divorce. Let's talk about what that looks like. Who's getting a new bank account? Mm-hmm. Me or you? Okay. So the lease isn't up for another 6 months, let's just say. Who's getting a new apartment? Me or you? No new apartment? Okay. Is anybody moving out? Me or you? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm moving out. You're moving out. Okay. Where are the kids going?
What's that going to look like?
Right. And we need to know that because I may not want my kids staying where you're going, and you may not want the kids staying where I'm going to go. Okay? That's what I mean when we got to figure it out. The separation is to really kind of work out the plans in your mind. And what happens when we do that, we say, whoa.
Is this really worth the divorce?
We say, hold on. I know I'm struggling here. I know I'm not happy right now. But do I really want to do this? Mm-hmm. Do I really want to have to go and buy a new car? Mm-hmm. Do I really want to have to set up a whole new residence?
Now, there are some instances where it's not healthy at all, and you may need a divorce or whatever it is. But those instances where what we're talking about today, that we're using the divorce as a way to manipulate your spouse or have them shape up instead of saying, I want to go to counseling. There are some instances you need a divorce. There's some instances you guys should have never been together. But for today's episode, we're focusing on the couples that are saying it but don't really mean it.
Right.
And
right. Obviously we encourage people to protect themselves in abusive relationships.
Yep.
Protect your children in these abusive relationships. Barring all of that, if you're in a marriage where you're not happy, your bills are paid, you got shelter over your roof, your wife or your husband are doing little annoying things, clipping his toenails in the kitchen.
Stop it! I don't need that visualization.
Yeah, we don't do that, by the way. But, if you think your wife is immature or if your husband's immature, and I'm not saying that to minimize those things, because trust me, if you are in that situation, it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Your husband's spending habits, your wife's spending habits.
So many things, like all the things of why people get divorced: communication issues, infidelity, finances. Give me some other ones, baby. I'm losing it.
Baby mama drama,
yes.
Baby daddy drama. Listen, just parenting styles. Mm-hmm. You're giving them dessert before dinner, mm-hmm. or you're letting them stay up late to play video games. They're not deadly per se, mm-hmm. but they are not ideal. They contribute to a lot of conflict.
Yes. And it makes you uneasy, and you just want to have a fuzzy, loving relationship again and enjoying all the milk and honey of being in a relationship.
Yeah, those are the situations that we're talking about. Those are these circumstances where you can sit and talk and try to sort it out. But you have to be honest with yourselves. If you're going through a divorce and you're just kind of playing divorce, you guys are still hanging out. You guys are still kicking it. You expect her to cook for you, do your laundry. You expect him to come and fix your car.
Fix your car.
Well, the kids, they're his kids too.
I know, but the roles haven't necessarily changed with new boundaries. That's
right.
What I'm saying.
Okay, right. We're not clear on what our new setup is.
Yes.
We've thrown the divorce net out there, mm-hmm. but now we just carrying on like ain't nothing changed. Mm-hmm. Guys, that is when we are playing divorce.
Like I like that analogy. We're throwing that net out there, but really don't want it to catch anything.
Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening. So we're playing this divorce, and what's gonna happen? Mm-hmm. He, at some point, is well, is going to get a new girlfriend.
Or a boyfriend.
She is going to have a new boo in her DM.
Well, we got a divorce. We're
Right.
thinking about
And
it.
that's when all of this is going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
And what I tell couples, what I tell clients is you want to prepare for that. You cannot say you want a divorce and not be grown about what getting a divorce means.
Yes.
If you want to go, fine.
Do the necessary work.
Go and decide. And you can't force anyone to stay with you. Now, we're not talking about begging somebody, forcing someone to stay with you. If your wife or your husband tells you they want to go, hey, you know what? We had a good run. I don't want you to go, but it's your prerogative. On the flip side, if you're being left behind, don't just act like you're fine. Don't look forward to the crumbs when they come around.
Oh, yes. That's a good one.
Right? You deserve more than the crumbs.
Yes.
Don't hold on to them like, oh my God, I'll never have anybody. No. Recognize what's happening, because when you hold on to those little crumb moments, now it just sets you up for that big letdown. It's tough dealing with a divorce.
Yeah.
Even the potential of a divorce is scary. I know people who are frightened by other people's divorces.
Wow.
Right?
I
Like,
never thought of that.
other people's divorces scare them.
You know, that's true, because if a celebrity, or if I'm reading, or if I'm scrolling on Facebook or Instagram and something comes across my screen that a celebrity who I probably admire, you know, the Instagram life of their life, getting a divorce, I feel some kind of way.
We get sad.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are sad for Bezos and his wife right now who are going through their divorce.
Yeah. If you don't know who that is the owner.
That's Amazon guy.
Yeah, the owner of Amazon. $1 billion divorce. But they'll be okay.
So you have to acknowledge how you're feeling about your situation, because there's a lot of work in rebuilding, restructuring. Go ahead.
How do we restructure?
Well, hell, we need some therapy, maybe, right? We need some time away.
Yeah. Don't do it on your own.
Listen, when we are,
And don't Google.
when we're getting out of a major relationship, right? And I say major, not necessarily based on time. Major according to investment. Major according to memories. Emotions, guys. Okay? And it could have just been potential, right? So it might have been a 6-month, 9-month relationship, a year relationship, but y'all had plans going out 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
You don't just get over that on your own.
No.
And if you have to be the one to be like, hey, if we're getting a divorce, we really got to get a divorce, because I can't handle this divorcing but still sleeping together thing. I don't know how to divorce you but still be your friend. And that was something I know that came up for us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you again and again, if I want to still be married to you, ain't no way I'm going to be your friend.
Yeah.
It's going to take me some time.
Yeah.
And one, I had to acknowledge that for myself. And I also had to share that. I had to let her know. I had to let Herdyne know. So, guys, we cannot play divorce.
No.
It's heavy. It's hard. It's tough in the moment. But we have to, if we're going to go through it, let's go through it. And there are people to support you. Obviously, you can consult with us, consult your pastor, okay? Do not consult your homeboys, your homegirls.
But if you're consulting your pastor, I need you all to remember they're not therapists. They're not therapists. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
They may give you spiritual advice.
And it isn't that they can't be helpful.
No.
Just understand there are limitations.
There's limitations.
Just like not all therapists will help you the way you want to be helped. So some therapists will take you so far.
We don't work with anorexia clients.
Right. You might need to be referred to specialists, or after seeing a therapist, maybe you need to go talk to your pastor. Okay. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So please, please, please do not play divorce. Okay. Like I said before, I'll say it again. Feel free to reach out if you need to consult. If you find yourself approaching a potential divorce, like, don't wait till you're in it to see if there's anything that could have been done. If you find yourself going through a divorce, or if you've just come out of a divorce, feel free to reach out. The links are in the show notes. You can find us all over social media, but the website is a good place to go to. Mm-hmm. And we'll do our best to help you in this season that you're in.
And if it's not us, we'll definitely refer you to the right people. Our thing is we want you to be healthy, happy, and mentally sane in that sense, and not emotional in shambles.
Oh, no. Guys, this has been our show.
Yes, it's a little heavy topic.
Our road show. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's on spring break and we're talking about divorce.
I know, but
it was on my mind. It was on our minds. Mm-hmm. And as always, we like to share relevant content, mm-hmm. Relevant to your lives, relevant mm-hmm. to the lives that we're living. Mm-hmm. All right. So this has been our show.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Jameson Mercier.
I'm Herdyne Mercier, the wife mentor. And before we say goodbye, I want to send a shout out to Mrs. LaRoche. And her review on iTunes says, "Can't wait for this podcast to no longer be America's best kept secret. So many gems and helpful advice. Thank you for your work and dedication to love and mending love." Thank you, Mrs. LaRoche. When I read that, I was like, yay!
Oh, thank you.
Remember, we do read your reviews on iTunes. So please.
Not just on iTunes. When you hit us up on Instagram.
Our Podbean, somebody else left a review there. Thank you.
Listen, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, thank you guys. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for subscribing.
Yes.
And thank you guys for showing up week after week.
Yep. And don't forget, if you have not gotten your Wifidence gear, whether it is a mug, a shirt.
Get your merch.
Yes. Please visit our website, mercierwellness.com, where you can get all your merchandise from the Wifidence, Teamfident, Dadfident, Manfident brand.
Yeah. Show your swag, guys.
Yeah.
Listen, this is our first roadie.
Yes.
And it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad. Thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of the Couples Council. And we will catch you next time on another episode of the Couples Council. Bye now.
Bye.
Hey everybody. Thank you for listening to our mom and dad. If you like them as much as we do, then click subscribe and leave a comment. But now they have to go because it's family time.
So go practice what you heard and we'll catch you on the next episode.